What coming in, I'm curious. It's really, and I've been following you guys from afar too, so I'm curious how this lines up. But one question off the top of my mind, top of my head, from just you saying that, what specifically were like some of the cues or things that you noticed as you were doing that survey that led you to say, "Gosh, you know what? There's an innovation, uh, just bug that runs through the core of what Sam's Club is." How did you see that so that we can potentially help other people know it when they see it too?
It's just like and these were very informal sessions. So I would get a group
Yeah.
of 10 to 15 people and I just pepper them with questions like,
Hmm.
what's our strategy? What are we proud of? What do we do well? What do you want me to know? What do I need to guard and protect? Are we truth tellers? How do we behave? And it's just through listening to those answers and kind of sifting them. I mean, the thing we're proud of, we always went to products we were delivering,
Hmm.
speed of solution, some of the way we have kind of designed quite elegant tech solutions to solve complex problems in the
Hmm.
field.
Hmm.
When that's where they go to on the things that they feel proud of,
Hmm.
that goes to kind of their identity and culture.
Hmm. Absolutely. And what were some of those, like, I think, just out of curiosity, what were some of the like tech solutions specifically where you're like, oh yeah, that really struck a chord with me, and I could see that making people on the front lines lives better, whether it be the employees or actually the customers themselves?
So Sam's Garage is one of them. And so, I don't know if you're familiar with Sam's Garage, but
Please.
I mean, it's the teams used to have like I think, there was like 6 different systems that they had to go to. And to actually serve a member when they came up to schedule them, it would take like 25 minutes. And so the tech team were able to bring that down onto an app and really make it like a very easy to solve solution that basically you didn't need training to do. So
Mhm.
any associate could basically pick up the app and schedule somebody in for a service,
Mhm.
and take into account what vehicle they were driving and kind of what accessories they would need, and just taking all that complexity and distilling it down to simplicity. I think is the kind of secret sauce behind some of the tech solutions we've delivered in the field. And I think one of our listening sessions we spent half an hour just talking about that solution.
Mhm.
And then there's Ask Sam, which is the capability for the associates to be able to just on a device ask a question like, who's rostered to come in today, who's turned up, how
Yeah.
do I lay out this kind of planogram, all just very simple questions that previously we would have had to have gone to a leader or go back to the office,
Mhm.
etc. The solutions are right there in their hands.
Yeah, and you're seeing it, and you're hearing them talk about it too. One thing I want to ask you is, I had the chance to interview your chief product officer, Eddie Garcia, too, and he discussed something that I thought it sounded really unique to me. And my hunch is it was probably somewhat unique to you coming into the position you're in too, which is his role also from an innovation perspective is very broad. So he's not the chief product officer that you typically find in an organization where they're over here in the corner and they're running the website. He actually is responsible for how all the technology comes together across the website, the store operations, the supply chain, which is tremendous, something we espouse completely. It's tremendous, but very different. So how did you approach that, or how do you think about that whole thing now, as in your role and as you look at that from a CEO perspective?
Yeah, I mean, I actually think Eddie's role as kind of our chief product officer is so vitally important to us continuing to transform. And, I do think there's a really important element of tech being in
Mm-hmm.
that, but I want to go broader than that and say, when he's designing a solution, he also has to be very aware of what's the fixtures that we use.
Yep.
How do we train the associates?
Yep.
What's that kind of cognitive and emotional experience a member's going to have when they walk into that part of the club and engage with that technology, with that associate. And so he has to be very, very broad in understanding kind of the space and that whole ecosystem of what
Mm-hmm.
comes into play for a member's experience when they're in the club.
Yeah, we talked about that too, how it's really the blend. It's not just digital, right? The great experience design, what you're talking about, it's the blend of digital, human, and the physical architectural elements that are coming together too. You've got to always have those three things top of mind. I want to put you on the spot a little bit with that. If you put your kind of fortune teller's hat on, will we see more companies move in this direction where they are thinking about product in that way, in that consolidated fashion? Like, would that be your recommendation for, I guess, other people in your role, or how do you think about that?
Well, I mean, I think it's something that I think is kind of delightful about Sam's, and I think it's a capability that we
No idea
have
what you're, that's
that
awesome.
I don't know that I want everyone else to like get on board with. Let's just keep it in the Walmart family.
So it's a little bit of a secret sauce. That's great. That's great. That's good. It's one we've been talking about for a while, so that's fun to hear. And I did not expect you to just say delightful. So